To play there. I didn't want to do Rush's. But we do have breaking news this morning, ladies and gentlemen. After a debate that lasted through the night, a Senate committee down in Baton Rouge in the early hours, the wee hours this morning, passed a proposed Louisiana congressional map that will eliminate one of the state's two majority black Democratic leaning districts, leaving just one with the population base there in New Orleans. According to the advocate, the Senate and Governmental Affairs Committee rejected a proposal that would have kept two Democrat-leaning districts and advanced a map that is broadly similar to the one the state used before this decade's messy redistricting cycle. Senate Bill 121, sponsored by Senator Jay Morris, Republican from West Monroe, passed the committee along party lines 4-3, the vote that occurred at 4:25 this morning. Morris said that after the Supreme Court recently ruled it is unconstitutional to use race to draw voting districts and tossed out Louisiana's current map, that he wanted to expand Republican representation in Congress. Democrats in the committee pressed Morris and pushed back against his plan during what was termed as tense debate, as you can imagine. The vote also followed another hours-long wave of public comments from voters and activists who said Republicans were undermining decades of civil rights progress by reducing black representation in Congress. So here we are.
Well, let's see what it looks like here. All right. I'm trying to see a picture of it. 4:20 in the morning, huh?
4:25.
How about that? Okay, so it looks like the old one.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Now, as I'm looking at the map as it relates to our area, Rapides Parish would once again be back in the 5th Congressional District, currently represented by Julia Letlow, but we know that will change because she's running for Senate and is not running for re-election in the 5th. Grant Parish gets split, though.
Yeah, I see that.
That's looking at it, it's maybe the only parish that's split, at least in terms of
St. Landry.
Okay, you're right. I'm seeing that now.
Calcasieu.
Yeah.
Orleans, St. Charles, a couple of them. But in our area, that's the only one.
Right, right. So if you live like on the west side of Grant Parish, you would have Mike Johnson, assuming he wins re-election, but that's not a given, of course. And then on the east side of the parish, whoever wins the 5th.
Well, is Blake Miguez the front runner in that one, probably?
I don't know, but I know that he pledged allegiance to the flag.
I don't know. I've heard it every day. Well, not lately.
Not lately. Not since.
Oh, no.
The ruling came down.
Shoot.
Yeah, yeah. So that is what is happening this morning. Certainly we'll hear the reaction to it throughout the day, but this is where we are.
Well, I'm glad they got that figured out, and I guess we have to figure out when the election is going to be now, huh? Do we know that yet, or?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
and
the
so
next step.
What happens next is now that this passed the committee, it will go to the full Senate, and they'll work on it. So.
Oh, so we got plenty of time left.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is what it looks like for now.
Right.
Okay. We could maybe try and get someone to call in and see what they think is going to happen. Is it going to be like a rubber stamp for the rest of the way? Is it going to be a hot fight? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Try and get someone.
But there's been, as you know, everybody knows, it's been a lot of drama with this, and the aspect of race being played into it, which the whole point of the Supreme Court ruling is that race really shouldn't factor into it. But right now, District 2 is represented by Troy Carter, and it would be kind of the sole Democrat-leaning district, stretching from New Orleans along the Mississippi River to include a patch of mostly black neighborhoods in East Baton Rouge Parish as well. Most of the population would be centered in New Orleans area. So 60% of voters in District 2 would be registered Democrats. The other 5 districts would be what they're saying safe GOP districts.
Well, it looks like Cleo Fields probably won't be running again.
Probably
At least
not.
with this current map.
Yeah.
And On this side, in the northern part of the state, it looks like it's pretty solidly Republican.
Yep. So that's what's going on this morning, folks. 318-442-8255. Excuse me, is our phone number here this morning. If you have any thoughts or comments about all of that is going on. All right. So another interesting story yesterday that happened was a bill that would increase the pay of the governor and other statewide elected officials squeaked by getting enough votes to pass through the House. The bill by Harahan Representative John Illich, I believe is how you say his name, ILLG.
I've never heard that one.
It would increase the governor's salary in 2028 from the current $130,000 to $174,000.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the same amount somebody who is a House representative gets.
That's what position was that again?
That would be for governor.
Honestly, that's not that much money.
Illich said, we all recognize that we have multiple congressmen and only one governor. When you consider our governor's wide-reaching responsibilities, it seems an appropriate measure. The bill passed 54-35. 53 yes votes were needed for the bill to pass. And there were several state representatives who afterward tried to change their votes. One of those was Ed Larvadane, by the way. Illich's legislation also increases the salary of other statewide elected officials from $115,000 to $154,000. He says the measure does not raise the pay for state lawmakers, which stays at $16,800, but would provide legislators with additional opportunities to receive per diem.
154. Okay.
Yeah.
For the statewide offices.
So of our local delegation, Mike Johnson, Jason DeWitt, Gabe Ferment voted against this bill, which gives the governor and other statewide elected officials a raise. Also, Chuck Owen voted against it. And Rodney Shammerhorn voted against it. I saw Daryl Desatel was on the list of those that voted for it locally. Larvadane did. And then, like I said, there were a handful of people after it passed wanted to change their vote, which I guess they were allowed to do, but it doesn't change the outcome of the vote, if that makes sense.
I don't know. I get both sides because if you look at what he was making, $134,000, I would like to make $134,000. Don't get me wrong, but that's in line with a lot of small city mayors sometimes. Not small city, but like in Alexandria or a Monroe, they're probably making more than the governor. I think that's kind of weird.
Right.
But I get it. So, and you want to take a wild guess how much the mayor of Shreveport makes?
$225.
90.
90?
90.
Oh, okay.
That's less than all the mayors over here.
Wow.
At least in the, Pineville and LA.
They need to give that man a raise.
Give that man some money. Luckily for a lot of the politicians, on those levels, they're already kind of doing pretty well, most likely. So a little extra added bonus for them. I could tell you feel a little upset about it.
Oh no, I'm not saying one way or the other.
No,
and it doesn't happen until 28. So Landry might not even be governor then.
Yeah. I don't know. A good $40,000 raise isn't bad though.
Yeah. I think it's bad imagery though, at a time when so many families are struggling to make ends meet, right? I mean, it's just the optics of it are not good.
Yeah. Well, we know politicians don't even care about America's finances. As we learned yesterday, apparently. So, did you see all that?
King Louis in History of the World Part 1 said, "I love my people." Pull! Wait, what did you ask? What did I?
No, it was ironic you said that because what the president said yesterday is getting everyone all in a tizzy. So.
Yeah, they've taken it out of context, of course. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there was part of his quote that they're just focusing on. So, but he's making the point that what we're trying to do has a bigger purpose at this point. And if there's some short-term gas price increases, then yeah, that's going to come with it. But People will make hay of that for sure. All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to put two cents worth in, and well, I'm upset with the Letlow thing, and to me it's taken. Well, first of all, it was dumb to start with, and it's more of a farce as it's gone on. And I don't. If Landry is the one behind it and all that business, his judgment in this particular case is disgusting, and I just put my 2 cents worth in that Fleming is by far the better choice for common sense and not for that job.
We air from 6:37 here on KSYL now. Comes from Fox News. It's kind of I don't know how to describe it, maybe more of a news magazine. In the first 15 or so minutes, they usually do more of an in-depth interview. I don't know if you caught this morning, but they had Julia Letlow on, and just kind of typical Julia Letlow answers where she answers but just doesn't say a whole lot. And, as I was thinking on it, I mean, here's what you're going to get if Julia Letlow ends up winning. I think she's somebody who will fall in line and mostly carry President Trump's agenda. So there is that. But in terms of having a strong grasp on a lot of issues, it just I never get that feeling. I never get that sense.
Well, we'll see what the voters decide and how much that endorsement goes for her in this campaign. I've heard a bunch of people say they think it's going to be Fleming and Letlow in the runoff. They're confident. I've heard people say because Cassidy has money in his name, it's going to be her and Letlow. So I don't know. But I always hear her name in it. So we'll see.
It does seem like people are making that a foregone conclusion. And you're right. But actually, there was an interview that was going around on Twitter last night with Cassidy that was on, I think this was on MSNBC, but here, take a listen.
In the impeachment vote today, someone asked you about that. You addressed it head on. You defended that vote. Do you think it's a liability for you in the primary?
Well, it might be. But I tell people, hey, you're married. Did ever your spouse do something that you didn't really like? And you work through it. Are you focused on the past? Are you focused on the now and the future? I'm focused on the now and the future. If you want somebody delivering for our state to make Louisiana a place where people move to, set down roots, raise their children and grandchildren, I'm your guy.
I think we all knew it's going to be hard to overcome that conviction vote in Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for him.
So it goes on a little bit
If
here.
that's what's important to you, vote Bill Cassidy.
Something else that was talked about today was mail-in ballots. Someone was asking, should I be concerned about this? The president is talking about this as a concern. He just signed an order restricting mail-in ballot. Would you still encourage people to utilize that practice? And is it helpful for Trump to be targeting it if you do think it's still something that should be used?
A couple things. The state of Montana, I'm told 80% of their ballots are by mail. So there is a kind of a good Republican state, very red state. And 80% of their ballots are by mail. As a doctor, I know there are people who cannot physically go to a voting booth. And you want to make sure they can still vote. But I'll proudly say of my state that people do not speak of corruption in my state's elections now. we've put in reforms, even though, or maybe because, included in, we have mail-in ballots. There are ways to do this to avoid the corruption. I am a co-sponsor of the Save America Act, and I do think that you can do that. And for those who cannot go to the voting booth or choose not to. For example, the president mailed in his ballot for the recent election. He's leading the free world. It was hard for him to get down there on that day. I still think it's possible to have both.
All right.
I don't know. Hey, if you want to find out the election results, KSYL will be streaming them live right here on Facebook and on live radio, KSYL on 104.9 FM. So tune in Saturday starting at 8 o'clock to see if Cassidy makes the runoff or whoever.
Yeah.
We'll have it for you.
So we'll be on from 8 until 10:30.
Yep. And we'll have some local candidates coming on who win their races. And I'm particularly interested in the local races. I always love those. But we'll see what happens statewide as well. It'll be a fun night.
Right. And it'll be you, me, and Nathan, and then Dr. Jim Rogers from LSUA.
Yep.
We'll be here too. And I heard you guys talking about election night pizza. That's like a rule in news. It has to be pizza.
When I said pizza, he didn't realize it. I was like, yeah, this is a thing that happens.
Well, news. He's coming from the pastor world. Those guys are kind of bougie.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. They had what did Baptist eat? They had a election night green bean salad or casserole.
Election night potluck supper.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take that. Sign me up.
We could get brown paneling in here to make him feel at home.
I know. We don't need any signs or anything indicating our station up as well either. So.
All right. Well, we need to take a break right now. We'll be right back.
KSYL.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Job cuts at Walmart, the retail giant laying off or relocating about 1,000 corporate workers. The big box store looking to consolidate its technology and artificial intelligence efforts. In recent years, Walmart has closed smaller office hubs while streamlining some operations in the process. Higher gas, higher groceries, and don't forget surging airfares. The impact of the Iran war hitting the economy as energy costs continue to surge. Consumer prices jumped the most since 2023 in April. That put pressure on stocks yesterday with the S&P 500 dropping from a record high. This morning, stock futures are higher as President Trump arrives in Beijing. And Google has introduced a new high-end laptop segment called Google Book that will run Android and prominently showcase Gemini artificial intelligence. Partners Dell Technologies, Lenovo, and HP will debut models built on the platform in the coming months. It's expected to offer better performance than Google's Chromebooks. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Summer is almost here and something exciting is about to grow at Rapides Parish Library. It's called Plant a Seed, Read. Our 2026 summer reading program starts June 1st. Hands-on fun, weekly entertainment, cool prizes, and big ways to grow your imagination. From kids to parents, everyone can dig in, grow their minds, and have fun learning new things this summer at RPL. Visit rpl.org or your local branch to learn more.
Good morning. If you liked yesterday, you're really going to love today. Sunny skies on our Wednesday afternoon, highs near 87 degrees. We'll see winds out of the northwest at about 5 this afternoon. Clear tonight down to 63. And then for Thursday, you got it. Another beautiful day. Sunny skies. Again, the afternoon highs up to about 89 degrees. Beautiful weather now through the end of the week. From the Sedlaw Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talk Back.
I don't have a problem with anyone in this body. I have great respect for each of you. The matters that we debate are often very contentious and hot-button topics. And as we debate those bills, and especially contentious matters like redistricting, it's very important as we have those conversations, we do so with cool heads and cool minds, even-tempered. And I'll be the first to tell you that I lost my cool, I lost my temper during the hearing that we had Friday. There's no apologies for losing my cool. There's no apologies for losing my temper. I have great respect for this body. To the extent, Senator Morris and Mr. Chairman, my attacks, my questions seem like personal ad hominem or personal attacks on you. I apologize. I did not intend that at all. It was part of me losing my temper during the course of the hearing. But these are some very important matters. These are some very important debates. We have to hear from all sides. We have to listen to all sides. Respect is critical in these moments. It's very critical. Our state has a very, very complex history. I'm very aware of that. And I'm also aware of the personal relationships I have in this building. I consider y'all friends, and I want to remain friends.
All right, that was the audio from yesterday from State Senator Gary Carter, who announced that he is voluntarily stepping down from the Senate Government and Affairs Committee to help restore the decorum and focus that the moment demands. Now, back on Friday, when they had a committee hearing, after the hearing was over, it was Carter who kind of went off on Jay Morris, who was one of the ones that sponsored the legislation or was pushing the legislation, the map that they adopted this morning. And I think, am I right in saying this, that he straight up called Morris a racist?
Didn't see that. Sorry.
I think that is the case. But in any case...
I'm a useless host. I didn't see that.
Okay. You need to do better research. But he stepped down from that Senate Government and Affairs Committee. It's interesting. The Tennessee House, remember last week, they also voted to redistrict and basically eliminated the Democrat districts as well. And they announced yesterday that they have removed all Democrats from their standing committees and subcommittees as a result of the way they behaved in the State House last week during the redistricting debates. So they're not messing around there. They're saying, if you're going to act like that, fine, you're not going to be on our committees. And I don't know if Carter might have, in part, taken to the floor yesterday to apologize with maybe a thought that could happen here. No indication that that would have happened, but it's interesting, the timing of it. So
these map battles are getting wild.
Yeah. You know, it would be interesting to hear from Gabe Ferment because he is the representative for the Grant Parish and LaSalle Parish, parts of Natchitoches Parish, to get his thoughts on Grant being carved up half fourth, half fifth, how he feels about that. So see if we can maybe get him to just call in and give us his thoughts on that. But we do have some other calls coming in. Let's go to those. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I would like to hear what Representative Ferment had to say about that. I think the tragedy here is that people are still arguing for race. And, you know, the news covered the map. Oh, it's got one majority minority district. And it's even they are lying because it's really to protect Democrat control. Everywhere where they say it's a majority district, it's a safe Democrat seat. That's what they say. That's the next statement. And we know that they're not worried about race because of what happened in Virginia. They had an African-American running, and the black people in Virginia voted against her because she was a Republican. So it's a farce. And I don't know if you saw what the State House in Virginia is trying to do, but they're trying, now that their Supreme Court gutted their measure to stack their districts, they're looking at trying to lower the eligibility for serving on the state Supreme Court in Virginia down to 54.
Wow.
That would take away everyone on their court that voted against their 11-1 or their 10-1 map. And it's not about race. That's the giant umbrella they're covering it with. It's about Democrat power. And I don't understand why more black people don't see that. I don't understand why all Americans don't see that. They're using race because they know race is an issue that is sensitive. Nobody wants to be called a racist. Nobody on our side wants to be called a racist. Call them a racist, they don't care. And I just think it's sad. We've got to grow through this. We've got to get to where it doesn't matter which race is dominant in the district, they vote for the Clarence Fields of the pack, the best man out there. So any man or woman. Anyways, thanks for letting me speak my piece. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, I saw a lady on Twitter said, I'm a black conservative who has lived most of her life in Democrat-run areas. My interests were never represented in those areas, so shut up. I don't want to hear it. I've seen a number of black conservatives on Twitter say those sorts of things. He's right. He's right. I'll stop there.
No, keep going.
Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yeah, well, if you get down around the border, it seems like most of the elected officials down there are Hispanic, and they're not fussing about having appropriate representation.
True. Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, that's not really the reason I called.
Yes, sir.
Have either one of you ever participated in a release of helium-filled balloons that had something to do with the loss of a loved one or some other event that was significant?
No, I thought you were going to ask me if I ever sucked the helium out of a balloon so I could talk like Donald Duck.
What?
Exactly. No, I've never, that I can think of. I don't remember. But didn't they outlaw that a couple years ago in the state?
People do it all the time. They did it the other day.
Yeah, especially for those poor kids who got slaughtered in Shreveport. But here's the deal. The release of a balloon like that is probably could be classified as litter.
True, yeah.
And it's against the law to litter. But for whatever reason, it's not considered litter. Apparently, the law has to be very specific and identify a specific thing as opposed to a general thing. And there's a great deal of concern within the environmental community about the release of those balloons because they can wind up in old Bossy, the milk cow, and she'll be stone cold dead because for some odd reason, when they come down to Earth, ants have a tendency to eat them or chew on them or whatever. And it's especially problematic with respect to wild animals and birds in particular, somehow becoming entangled into the thing or eating pieces of them and messing up their digestion and obviously killing them. So those things can wrap around power lines. And there have been cases where fire, for those reasons, a law was passed in both houses of the legislature last year, outlawing them, and His Royal Highness, Mr. Landry, vetoed it because he said, "How would you ever enforce it?" Well, in any event, I went to Shreveport yesterday, going up 49, and I was passed like I was standing still, and I had my speed control set on 75. Well, it's against the law to go over 75, where it says 75. Or if you go through Woodworth at 50. You do it on your own. That if this The law.
May 16th is Election Day. All races on the ballot except the U.S. House of Representatives are proceeding as scheduled. Before heading to the polls, verify your voter registration and view your sample ballot at govote.com. That's GEAUX vote.com, or download the free GoVote mobile app. Polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. Go vote, Louisiana.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, we're back. Alan Stephen with you. Regarding the map, the vote yesterday to make it a 6-1 map. 6-1 or 5-1?
6-1.
6-1, yeah. 6-7. Anyway, as we mentioned, the map that was released overnight that the Senate committee approved would split Grant Parish in half. Essentially, half would be in the 5th, half would be in the 4th. Gabe Furman, state representative for that area, did text me saying he's made it clear to House leadership that all of Grant Parish needs to be in the 5th district along with Rapides. Traditionally, that has not been the case. I reached out for him to see if he could call in, but he's in town today for a ceremony at the high school that his son is in, so he wasn't able to call in. But he also noted that Grant Parish voted for Jeff Landry at a higher percentage than any other parish, and that Jay Morris, the bill's author, also part of his representation as a state senator, has Grant Parish. So it is a little bit of a head scratcher that they would come up with that. But he also notes they have a long way to go. The bill still has to get off the Senate floor, the House committee, then the House floor, then probably through conference committee. So it's got a ways to go at this point.
Yeah. We will see. And, you know, I was perusing the internet while we were waiting for the show to come back on, and there's an article that says how to wear a polo without looking like a middle manager. And we're both wearing polos. So I feel kind of like
so we're middle
offended now.
Yeah. I feel like this is a Dilbert segment. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
So, you know, one of the great reassurances in life is some things never change. And one of the things that never changes is the race card played by the Democrats. So Dave called in and said it's not about race. Yes, it is. It's always been about race. It's about the Democratic Party using the Voters' Rights Act of 1964 as a lever to exert power by using racial districts. I mean, let's go back and see what LBJ said about that act. He said, if we pass this, we'll have these ends voting up for us for the next 100 years. It was always about race. It is about race, not to improve a race or improve race relations or lift up one race over the other. It's about the Democrats using race as a lever of power. That's all it is. Now, there are victims in that, and there are participants. I say that the African Americans are basically the battered spouse of this, where they've been so conditioned by the Democratic Party that this is the only way they can get elected, that they refuse to shuck it off. Now, you have some outliers like Winston Spears or Byron Donald in Florida or Ben Carson, or you have some outliers like that. But as a whole, the political players in the African American Party believe, and they've been conditioned, they're like Cleo Fields, that the only way they can win any office is through the racial gerrymandering of the Democratic Party. So it's always been about race. Before the Voters' Rights Act, which the Democrats passed, white old men Democrat passed, by the way, there was no racial gerrymandering. Now there is, and people are not going to let go of it because that's their means to power.
100%. And you remind me of a post I saw on Twitter yesterday, and the guy wrote, the real systematic racism today isn't about white people holding black people down. It's a self-sustaining system inside black communities that's actually run by black leaders that works like this. Black neighborhoods get packed into heavily Democratic districts through gerrymandering, creating guaranteed voting blocks. The political machine needs those votes to stay in power, to keep getting them. They promote a narrative that racism is everywhere and white people are the real enemy. The more you push the message, the higher you rise in the status hierarchy. In this culture, your status goes up the more loudly you complain about racism, Republicans, and systematic oppression. The loudest victims and professional activists sit at the top. They get book deals, TV appearances, speaking fees, and power. The school teachers, pastors, and influencers who enforce the narrative are next. They get respect and influence by attacking anyone who steps out of line, especially black conservatives. Regular black folks who just want to work, raise their kids, and live normal lives get very little status in the system. Success through personal responsibility actually threatens the narrative, so it's quietly discouraged. It's self-bondage. Black people have the freedom to vote differently, but rarely do, because their entire social hierarchy is built on staying in the grievance game. The worse conditions get in their communities, the more it proves the narrative that they need more help and more democratic policies. It's a perfect system. The crop, the votes, gets harvested every election because the people running it have convinced everyone that chains are actually protection, and the people enforcing it most aggressively aren't white racists. They're black leaders who've built their entire identity and income around keeping their own people emotionally enslaved to the story. And I saw a number of black people.
Can I sue that guy for plagiarism?
Well, another quote someone shared from Booker T. Washington. He says, there's another class of people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of, his words, the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they're able to make a living out of their troubles, they've grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they don't want to lose their jobs.
Yep. So, it's been going on for a long time. You remember when Jesse Jackson sued Pepsi Cola for racism?
Oh, yeah.
You know what happened? You know what happened after that? His son was somehow awarded a bottling franchise in Chicago. So, yeah, it's about pay. Can I switch real quick if you got a time? Just a few
45 seconds.
I want to praise that scholar, AOC, for telling us that this American Revolution was against the billionaires of their time. How astute is that? Then I actually remembered, I remembered my reading. George Washington was one of the richest men in the colonies. Thomas Jefferson was one of the largest landholders. John Hancock was a shipping magnate. Paul Revere was a silversmith, very rich. Benjamin Franklin owned a printing press, had several patents, and was also one of the richest men in the colonies. So it seems to me, through a reading of history, that the rich men were on the side of the rebels.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Well, thanks for the call. We do have to run. I appreciate it. More talk back coming up.
KSYL.
Starting a business shouldn't feel overwhelming. At Janney King Gulf Coast, we give you a clear, proven path to ownership. You receive guaranteed initial accounts, local support, and the training you need to succeed from day one. For over 35 years, we've helped people turn steady careers into thriving businesses, and you could be next. Start your journey today at JannyKingCleans.com.
Janney King, the king of clean.
Remember when eating corn right off the cob was one of your favorite summertime treats? Or how about taking a big bite out of a crisp, fresh apple? If it's been a while since you enjoyed these delightful activities, chances are your teeth are no longer up for the task. But now there's great news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville are Cenla's dental implant experts. They're both highly trained and experienced in the procedure. Now with thousands of completely satisfied, delighted patients. They make dental implant surgery simple by using today's most current technologies, along with in-office IV sedation administered by a highly skilled certified nurse anesthetist. You'll be in and out before you know it, without all the anxiety. Plus, at Today's Dental, their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Go back to crunching all your favorite foods. Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. That's 448-4540.
Have a Class A or B CDL? Want to drive a local route every day? If you said yes, then you're who we're looking for. Waste Connections of Alexandria, Natchitoches, and Lafayette is hiring drivers with CDL license. You'll get competitive wages, paid vacations, a company stock program, a 401k with company match, medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance, and a local route with you at home with your family every night. Apply now at wasteconnections.com/employment. That's wasteconnections.com.
I've always wanted to learn French, but the app I tried didn't help.
If you want to memorize words in another language, there's an app for that. But if you want to really learn another language, there's Babbel. Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different. Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Babbel feels like it was created intentionally by people who really know what you need to learn another language. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Want to really learn another language? Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to save up to 50%. Babbel.com.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talkback.
Good song. I like that song.
It's a good one.
Speaking of songs, speaking of music, coming up at 8:05, our guest in the studio will be Jacob Whitcock. He is the director of the Red River Chorale, and they have a big concert coming up Thursday night, tomorrow night at First Methodist Pineville at 7:30. So we want to let you know about that and find out what kind of music they're going to have. It's going to concert and title is called Tribute. So we'll find out more about that.
It'll be good, and that church is off of 165. Big church.
Easy to get to.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's coming up, and then we'll continue more conversation about what's happening in our area and the states, and who knows, maybe even a little bit about the country as well. Always news going on. We'll try to break it for you here. More coming up in hour number 2.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting. AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYO, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock.
He got the red carpet treatment. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump arrived in China a short time ago to a lot of fanfare as he came down Air Force One to start a trip that'll include talks with China's leader Xi Jinping. That's children chanting welcome, waving American and Chinese flags as the president walked by Fox's Aisha Hasni's in Beijing.
He wants trade to be the top agenda. He wants trade to be covered by the press. He wants that to be the focus of this trip with Xi. I'm sure Xi feels the exact same way. He doesn't want this to be about Iran, although Iran is going to come up. He said he's going to have a very long talk with Xi about Iran because Xi and China get a lot of their oil from Iran. The majority of oil that Iran exports goes directly to China. So the Strait of Hormuz reopening is very important for the Chinese.
The U.S. military blockade continues around Iran's ports, and the conflict has led to a spike in oil and gas prices. And we just got another inflation update, this one at the wholesale level.
6%. The expectation was 4.9. They came in at 6%. We haven't seen that level of producer price headline inflation since December of 2022.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni. Now, the president has suggested he'd be open to allowing Chinese car companies to come to the U.S., build factories, and manufacture vehicles here with American workers. But Republican Senator Bernie Moreno opposes that with legislation that has Democrat support to prevent it. He just told Fox.
So if they came into the U.S., they would wipe out our automakers, completely devastate our steel industry, our rubber industry, our electronics industry.
And Marino claims Chinese cars would also be rolling surveillance machines. One of the passengers on that cruise ship with the hantavirus outbreak that killed 3 is critically ill in a French hospital, now said to be breathing through an artificial lung. 18 Americans taken off the ship remain in quarantine in Nebraska and Georgia. America's listening to Fox News.
From around the world, Trey Yingst, joining us from Tel Aviv, Israel. To Washington.
I'm Mike Emanuel.
To your own backyard. If a story impacts you or your wallet, we're on it. It's the Fox News Rundown. We give every story the deeper look it deserves with must-listen interviews and smart analysis from the voices you can trust. Start your day with the Fox News Rundown. Listen and follow now at foxnewsrundown.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
Hey, this is Trey Gowdy, host of the Trey Gowdy Podcast. Every Tuesday, you'll hear what's on my mind. Plus, every Thursday, there's a special bonus episode where we answer the questions that are on your mind. Make sure to spend your Tuesdays and Thursdays with Trey. Subscribe now at foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you download podcasts. Hope to see you.
America's listening to Fox News.
Another legal setback for Democrats in the congressional redistricting controversy. The Missouri Supreme Court has rejected a challenge to new maps in that state that could help Republicans gain a House seat in the November elections. This days after Virginia's Supreme Court rejected as illegal new voter-approved districts that could have let Democrats flip 4 House seats currently held by Republicans. Now, Tennessee has also redistricted in favor of the GOP, and now this.
Tennessee's Republican House Speaker Cameron Sexton says Democrats are removed from House committees and subcommittees until further notice. Sexton says the punishment is for disrupting proceedings during last week's special session to approve a new, more Republican-friendly congressional map. He cites specific examples like interlocking arms and blocking aisles on the House floor, using prohibited props and noisemakers, and instigating and encouraging disruptions in coordination with paid protesters and attendees. There's 75 Republicans and 24 Democrats in the Tennessee House. Minority Leader Karen Camper says in a statement, "I'll be honest, at this point they can do whatever they want. Abuse the supermajority over and over again, changing the rules whenever it benefits them and punishing anyone who dares to challenge them." Chris Foster, Fox News.
In Nebraska, Cindy Burbank won the Democratic primary for a Senate seat, defeating a candidate that some Republicans called a Republican plant. Some Democrats called that. Burbank may not be a candidate much longer, though, saying she'll drop out of the race to help independent Dan Osborne challenge incumbent Republican Senator Pete Ricketts. In Georgia, a Republican running for governor, Brad Raffensperger, gets threatened.
The handwritten letter included Raffensperger's photo with the word boom written across the forehead. Then, during a sweep of a Georgia airport, where he was set to hold a rally for his campaign for governor, a suspicious package was discovered, causing the evacuation and closing of the airport. No bomb was found.
That's Fox's Gary Baumgarten on Wall Street after that report showing a bigger than expected spike up in wholesale inflation last month, 6%. Stock futures are mixed, down for the Dow, up for the NASDAQ. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm John Burns. The Senate Governmental Affairs Committee took all night and several hours into the morning to hash out a new congressional map. Gonzales Democrat Ed Price presented his map first, and after more than 5 hours of public discussion, it was voted down 4-3. Price's map would have created 4 safe Republican districts and 2 safe Democratic districts.
This bill actually put in place 2 opportunity districts out of 6. And if you look at the registration, have more Democrat registered than Republicans.
In the end, the committee members approved Monroe Republican Jay Morris's bill, which would reinstate the map from 2022 with just one majority Democratic district.
One of the traditional redistricting principles is maintaining existing district cores, and that's what this does.
Committee members adjourned at 4:30 this morning. The newly approved map will head next to the full Senate. Louisiana Radio Network. The Louisiana legislature has less money to spend than originally projected. Jeff Palermo on what that means.
The Revenue Estimating Conference has lowered its income forecast because personal and business income taxes are down as a result of the 2025 tax changes.
Revenue Estimating Conference downgraded next year's forecast by $104 million.
That's Melinda DeLotte with the Public Affairs Research Council, who says the forecast reductions will not lead to damaging cuts, but it will make it more difficult to double the funding for the LA Gators Scholarship Program.
They've already questioned the need to expand that program.
The Louisiana legislature is expected to approve a budget by June 1st. I'm Jeff Palermo.
News of 3 people on a cruise ship dying from the hantavirus has many worried about another pandemic. Hantavirus spreads from rodent droppings to people and usually can't be transmitted from person to person. But LSU Health New Orleans infectious disease expert Dr. Fred Lopez says this is a special type of virus.
It's usually limited to people who have really close contact with people who are infected.
LRN.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for takeoff.
United Express flights to Houston are taking off in May from Alexandria International Airport. Reservations are now open for twice daily flights operated by SkyWest Airlines. Skip the drive. With nonstop service to Houston, you're one step closer to nearly 200 destinations worldwide. And if you're a United Mileage Plus loyalty member, you can earn miles for your flights.
Houston, we have liftoff.
Book now at flyaex.org/united. Reunited. And we're so excited.
Good morning. If you liked yesterday, you're really going to love today. Sunny skies on our Wednesday afternoon, highs near 87 degrees. We'll see winds out of the northwest at about 5 this afternoon. Clear tonight down to 63. And then for Thursday, you got it. Another beautiful day. Sunny skies. Again, the afternoon highs up to about 89 degrees. Beautiful weather now through the end of the week. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian. It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
All right, everyone. Welcome back for hour number 2 of Talkback here on your Wednesday morning. Al Quartermont along with Stephen Maxwell. And pleased to be joined in the studio this morning by Jacob Whitcop. He is the director of the Red River Chorale. They have a big concert coming up tomorrow night. Jacob, also a professor over at Louisiana Christian University in the music department there. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you.
Nice to have you with us here today. So tell us about the concert. The title of it is Tribute. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. So we planned this concert as the last installment of a 4-concert series that ran the whole year. And we sort of tackled those bigger, broader reasons that we sing. You can kind of cross-genre categorize. We do this to express this, whether it's worship or love or something seasonal. But I wanted to do something a little more, something that represents a little bit deeper in the core. And so this one in particular with Tribute, it just works out that it's close to Memorial Day. And so the text that we're tackling right now is a lot of, it's based on writings and particular kind of times and places, World War I, World War II. I think we're a week and a half out from Memorial Day, but it just kind of worked out that way. I'm really excited about it. There's just some fantastic text. Now, it's not a memorial concert where if you've done like a memorial service, it's maybe something like some speeches, silent moments, some kind of stand and salute. This is a choir concert, so it's like a full, you get the full gamut of exciting moments and somber moments and moments that make you think, but it's music essentially.
Right. So tell us more about some of the selections then that people will hear if they come to the concert.
Yeah, I think the one that most readily comes to mind is the one, it's based off of the In Flanders Fields text, which was a poem by a lieutenant colonel in the Canadian Armed Forces. Flanders Fields is one of the bloodiest battles of World War I, and it's actually where the memorial stands. And the other little factoid about that, it references the poppies, the little red flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And on our poster and our social media posts, that poppy is prominent on the poster. And that's signifying Memorial Day. And it all started after the World War I memorial dedication.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know if they do this so much anymore, but I remember when I was a kid, there was some organization that represented veterans where they would be outside of like grocery stores or whatever, and you'd give a donation, and they'd give you like a little, it was not a real poppy, but it was something you could put like on your coat or whatever. And
right.
So I guess that's probably where that came from then.
Yeah, my dad used to wear one in his cowboy hat. So
Really?
I want to say it's a VFW fundraiser. Don't quote me on that.
Could be right, yeah.
Fuzzy memory. But yeah, so that's pretty recognizable, and it's quite a beautiful icon. We're also doing this other, it's sort of a longer epic masterwork. You're in it for the long haul, and it takes you up and down and up and down. It's really exciting. It's Voice of Democracy, and that's actually based on a Walt Whitman poem, and it's not specific to battle and fallen veterans per se, but what I love about it is it taps into that ethos of like, these are these core ideals that people have fought for, and we're kind of at this every generation, and I probably would have said this 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, every generation is kind of at that decision point to uphold those and stand up for, just making sure that we stand for liberty and the good of the people.
Yeah, Walt Whitman, significant figure in journalistic history, Stephen. How do you go about making your music choices for an event? Do you pick a theme first and then match songs to that?
Yeah. So it usually happens over the summer. And so in June and in July, well, really by July, it's wrapped up. So I'd say this month, next month, I'm already thinking about next October, next December, next March, and then the following May. And, you pick something that seems a little bit interesting. And I think if you just broadly say, hey, we're doing a concert, what's it about? I don't know. That maybe doesn't have as much advertising teeth as this is a concert about, we had a Christmas concert a couple years ago. It was just called Harkin. And everybody's like, oh, this is going to be Christmas themed. And that's kind of like, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
And so if you, I guess if you have a kind of universal theme with that, it kind of helps cluster these, and then you can sort of make it as diverse as possible. Choir music's kind of got a lot of styles within it, everything from African American spirituals to contemporary pieces, classical standards, and kind of these more imaginative, newer compositions as well.
So this is your season ender, as they say, right?
Yeah.
You've done 4 through the course of the year, and this is the big wrap up.
That's right. And just a little plug, it's a good opportunity to invite some folks if they're just interested in hearing good choir music, or if they're singers themselves and maybe you haven't sung since college or haven't sung since before kids or something. Great opportunity to get back on board and just make some good music with us.
Absolutely. So we want to remind folks that this event is tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. That'll be at First Methodist in Pineville. That's the one on Highway 65, also known as the Monroe Highway.
That's right. Yeah, that's a
big
fantastic
church. Can't
space.
miss it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's our first, well, no, I take that back. It's my first time performing in this space. I'm really impressed. We had a dress rehearsal last night, and the chorale sung there once before, but it's great to explore that again.
Yeah, for sure. How many members do you have right now in the chorale?
Yeah, well, we have the answer to almost every question I'm asked has to be depends. So really it depends on the time of year. Usually if in March, I think is probably our biggest conflict, because we do have some music teachers that have ridiculous schedules that they're trying to juggle at the same time, and say, how can I carve out a couple extra hours for that? So yeah, it kind of fluctuates between, say, like 40. I think we're 40 and 27 members, and it kind of just depends on what the real conflicts are for some of our members. But most of our members are consistent throughout the season.
Sure. Yeah, you mentioned your March concert. That one you actually did at Coughlin Saunders with the Symphony Orchestra, so that was probably pretty cool.
Yeah, that was actually the joining of 4 entities. So it was the Red River Chorale, Repeat Symphony Orchestra. There were some singers from NSU, from their music department, and there were actually some LCU singers there as well. And we all just combined and made a really great sound.
Wow, awesome. So I think people will enjoy this concert tomorrow. And is there any cost for it for people to get in?
Yeah, there is. And you can do tickets at the door. There's plenty of seating. If you're one of the folks that likes to just have that peace of mind, we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram. We do have a website, redriverchorale.com. Chorale's a word that you only hear in choir circles. It's CHORALE. Not to be confused with corral, like a pen for livestock. Which I actually grew up on a ranch.
I was going to say, something you know about, right? Yeah, that's the interesting background that Jacob has. You grew up on a ranch in Montana or Wyoming?
Montana.
It's like Lonesome Dove.
Yeah. Funny fact, coming back home from Montana, back down here, we stopped at the, I think it's in Pueblo. There's a little monument for the guy that wrote that book.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or like the person who inspired that story.
Great one.
Wow. Pueblo, Colorado, or as my Western Kansas relatives call it, Pueblo.
Really?
That's the way they say it. But, well, sometime you'll have to come in and just regale us with your stories of growing up on a ranch.
Yeah. I've got a lot of them. Lots end with injuries, but you know.
Do you share them with your students? Do you relate things to?
Yeah, I'm not. I've accepted this. I wasn't sure if it was a compliment or not, and I think it is. They basically say that I'm Barbie because, you know, if you look at the Barbie figure, she's had 20,000 outfits. I'm like, okay, is that a compliment? But I think what they're trying to say is you did this, and then you did this other random thing, and this other random thing. I've really enjoyed just doing random things, whether it's climbing mountains or traveling overseas or, yeah, you know, training horses and then getting into classical music. It just works.
You might have to write a book one day.
Would you read it?
I would. I actually would. Yeah. How does a kid that grew up on a ranch in Montana fall in love with like classical music and high church music and that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's a lot to be said for modeling. That's the first thing I say. So I have had some really profound teachers that just said, "Oh my gosh, yes, let's dig into this." Also, I've just always had this curiosity. What else is out there? I'll Wikipedia dive over the most random things.
We can relate.
Yeah. Like, what about Celtic related languages? Okay, that makes sense. And then, you know, I was blessed with a family that did, and I lived in a community that I did have access to a lot of things. It was working with livestock and 4-H, and those same kids were also in band and choir with me, and we also did all these you know, academic Olympics, all that stuff. Just one of the blessings of a small community, you do have access to a lot, and you don't have to be cornered into a box like, hey, you're only a theater kid, that's the only thing you can do, which I wish more people did just realize those boundaries there's some limitations with your time, but limitations of, can you do, say, like sports and choir? Yeah, and some of my best choir singers have been actually like starters for football teams, you know, for like high school and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. How big was the town you grew up in? I'm just curious.
About 700.
Wow.
That's in the city, and I think the county has, of course, we're counties up there.
Yeah.
On average, about one person per square mile. So,
wow.
My grandparents live a few hundred yards away. Next neighbor was a mile and a half away.
Wow. Wow. So how big was your graduating class? Like
30? Oh boy, 23.
23. That's close. I said 30.
Mine was 33.
Wow.
So
yeah.
We're a big school, I guess, Southwest Louisiana.
Oh yeah.
The Grant community.
Not Grant Parish.
Fairview High School.
Yeah. Between here and Lake Charles.
Yep.
Been to Montana a few times. Love it. Beautiful spot.
Yeah, and that's another one that's where there's the postcard side, and then there's kind of I like to think of it as like the subtle beauty of like the plains. That's kind of where I grew up on that side. Yeah.
We half of my family's from Idaho, so we went up to Salmon all the time in Idaho, and Montana was right there. So I think that's the pretty side, though.
I mean,
or the mountainous side.
I mean, it's all good.
Plains have a beauty.
Yeah, and there's like
I didn't mean it like
badlands.
that.
Yeah. Well, and if you're a hunter, a lot of folks do those kind of destination hunts on the Missouri Breaks, and that's kind of Badlands, but it rolls into the hills on the east side. Yeah.
Love it.
I'm gonna accompany you up there sometime. You can take me on a tour.
You can go ranching.
That's it.
Bring lots of gas money these days, right?
Right. All right, Jacob Whitcop. He is the director of the Red River Chorale. Their concert is tomorrow night. It's called Tribute, 7:30 p.m. at First Methodist in Pineville. That's on the Monroe Highway. Tickets are $20 for adults, $5 for students, and it should be a great night of music. Thanks so much for stopping by to tell us about it.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. More Talk Back coming up.
KSYL.
Tired of that same plumbing issue? Call Southern Air Heating and Cooling. Plumbing problems, large or small, Southern Air will fix them all. And you'll get service with no delay from certified technicians the very same day. Take advantage of our $99 drain clearing special and our 0% financing for those larger jobs. Call Southern Air Heating and Cooling at 318-777-5555 or visit us online at southernairnow.com, the official heating and cooling provider for LSU football.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Cupid, reminding you to make that seatbelt click every seat, every time. It's not a brand new dance, it's not a lot of trouble. Every time you drive, you gotta use a buckle. You gotta make it click or you'll be walking by yourself. Click it, this is Cupid, reminding you to click it every seat, every time. Brought to you by Louisiana Highway Safety Commission.
What's good for lunch? Wilmore's is good for lunch. Wilmore's Mobile and Sub Express on the corner of North MacArthur and Bayou Rapides Road. Want a fresh, crisp, healthy salad? Wilmore's has them. Garden and chef salads, tuna or chicken salads. Prefer a sandwich for lunch? Then come get them hot or cold at Wilmore's. Ham, turkey, or roast beef subs, Italian, chicken, and club subs. And their hamburger is a real standout. Your good lunch is waiting at Wilmore's Mobile and Sub Express on North MacArthur Drive at Bayou Rapides Road.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
All right, we're back on Talk Back here on this Wednesday. Al Cornmont, Stephen Maxwell with you, and thanks for being with us. If you missed it in hour number one, we talked about how a Senate committee early this morning passed what will be, at least at this point, the proposal for a new map for the states, for the congressional districts. And yeah, we'll see how that all falls out. It would just have one, what's considered a majority-minority district in the New Orleans area, kind of edging its way up to Baton Rouge. And of course, some people are upset with that. They wanted to have two districts. Others were hoping there wouldn't be any that are carved out that way. So, and it still has more to go. Is that it'll have to go through the full Senate and then the House committees and then the House. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Probably the big takeaway from our area would be how Grant Parish would be split into about half of the parish in the 4th and half the parish in the 5th. I'm not really a fan of that at all, being a resident of Grant Parish. Just got to say. Come on, Governor. You guys can do better.
Well, if we want a truly representative Congress, we should just double up the number of Congress people we have and get rid of the Senate. There you go. You just have like 800 representatives. And
Yeah.
Or the king thing, like I said.
Speaking of the whole issue, Senator Jay Morris, who's the one that drew this map that they adopted this morning, he announced yesterday that he and his staff have been getting death threats for something he never said. The executive director of the Louisiana Democratic Party, Deidrius Lanus, said that Morris used a racial slur during last Friday's racially charged debate over the new congressional map. Morris says the untrue allegation has led to at least 150 nasty voicemails for his legislative assistant to hear. He said she can only listen to 10. They were so vile, outrageous, saying all sorts of nasty things because social media has drummed up and the statement put out by the Louisiana Democratic Party. Morris said news outlets support his story that he did not use the word boy when he told Lanus, a black man, to shut up. The Republican from West Monroe says one of the voicemails left at his office threatened to carry out a mass shooting there. Moore said, I'd readily quit this job rather than to have one hair hurt of any member of my family. And he's blaming leaders of the Democratic Party of Louisiana for using lies to generate hate. He said, I have a lot of friends who are Democrats. I'm not castigating all of them. I'm castigating the leadership that should know better. Lanus says Morris told him, a black man, to shut up, boy. Morris admits telling the crowd behind him to shut up because they were distracting him while he was answering questions from the committee. State police are investigating those threats.
That's too bad that people resort to that kind of talk.
Yeah.
Violent talk.
Yeah. Well, sadly, we've seen it before, but a lot riding when we talk about political power. And political power translates into money. So you get all those things factored in, yeah, it gets a little heated.
'Tis the root of all evil.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Big, kind of a big to-do in Alexandria yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you've heard about Mayor Roy's Reignite program through the city.
Yeah.
It's an effort to revamp the Masonic Drive corridor for the most part. That's the big focus. So, redoing a lot of the infrastructure there, improving it, improving Bringhurst, adding additional law enforcement capabilities there. There's a big SWAT building coming up. They said is pretty cool. So hopefully we can get a look at that soon. Redoing some of the ball fields. It does include some things outside of that area or that district, but the majority of it is in that Masonic Drive corridor. It's an $80+ million project, including some grant funding as well. I think that's the correct term, bond money. It's complicated governmental funding. One of the big things, though, is what to do with the Alexandria Mall. And yesterday, the city hosted a town hall of sorts in the food court, which is eerily barren now, which is the reason
court that has no food.
I think it has one restaurant maybe, and that's Habanero. I think is what they call it, Habanero.
Okay.
Anyway, so the goal is to get public input on what should happen with the Alexandria Mall.
Sure.
And how they can reutilize that space. And of course, the mayor pointed to national trends that people aren't going to brick and mortar stores like they used to, especially malls. And, I think we can attest to that. Malls are kind of dwindling. Mall culture is kind of out the window. Even in some of the big cities I've been to, they seem to be struggling. Not every single one of them are, but Alexandria has definitely struggled. It's a shell of itself even 6-7 years ago. 6-7. Why did I do that? 6-7. And so they had different interactive ways that you could put your input. There was a table talking about the different housing options that they'd like to see, townhomes, workforce housing, all those different things. What they would like to see inside of the mall. He goes, the city's not going to buy the mall. We're not going to put our public dollars specifically towards that. We're looking at public-private partnerships as well. And so he says the big focus is going to be a children's museum of sorts in the mall. So he goes kind of example it off of like Knock Knock in Baton Rouge is what they call it.
Who's there?
Exactly. So it's going to be one of the one of the nicer children's museums, they say, in the state of Louisiana, because they feel like I definitely could see there is a gap of things for little kids to do and bring them in. And he wants to focus on interactive, experience-driven things for the mall, not necessarily retail like it has been. So he's asking for the public's input on what they could do with it. And that's a big space right in the middle of kind of the, what's the word I'm looking for? The economy of Alexandria. And so it's a very valuable spot I think they want to utilize as best as possible.
All right. Well, I've got some questions. And if you have questions, feel free to call in. We're at the bottom of the hour, so we need to take a break, but we'll keep talking about the Reignite plan and some of the aspects of it when we come back.
KSYL.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. California may soon be the first state in the U.S. to ban quartz countertops to protect workers from a serious lung disease linked to cutting and shaping the material. Silicosis has killed 30 workers and sickened over 500 since 2019. The ban faces pushback from manufacturers who say safer alternatives would cost more. Anthropic is said to be in early talks with investors to raise at least $30 billion in fresh financing. The maker of the Claude chatbot has been ramping up its fundraising on the breakout success of its AI software. And job cuts are on the way at Walmart. The retail giant is laying off or relocating about 1,000 corporate workers. The big box store is looking to consolidate its technology and artificial intelligence efforts. In recent years, Walmart has closed smaller office hubs while streamlining some operations in the process. On Wall Street, market futures pointing to a mixed open. Right now, Dow futures down 0.33%, NASDAQ futures up 0.4%, S&P futures are flat. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, check this out.
Okay.
It says here we get to vote on constitutional amendments on May 16th. Looks like Amendment 4 will finally phase out that inventory tax. So businesses don't pay that crazy tax on stuff stored in a warehouse or just on their store shelves. It'll create jobs, grow our economy, and help lower prices.
Well, I like lower prices. Now, look here at Constitutional Amendment 3. It will modernize things, restructure certain education funds to support teacher pay raises, and strengthen the teacher retirement fund without raising taxes. Amendments 3 and 4 are both great.
So we vote May 16th, or in early voting, yes on Amendment 3 for the teacher pay raise, and yes on Amendment 4 to cut the inventory tax, lowering prices and creating jobs.
Well, that's a no-brainer. Let's vote yes on 3 and 4.
Yes on 3 and 4. Now, let's go ahead and order I'm So Ready to Eat.
Paid for by Cajun Pack 2.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com, they make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds. You can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250, micro, to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
Good morning. If you liked yesterday, you're really going to love today. Sunny skies on our Wednesday afternoon, highs near 87 degrees. We'll see winds out of the northwest at about 5 this afternoon. Clear tonight down to 63. And then for Thursday, you got it. Another beautiful day. Sunny skies. Again, the afternoon highs up to about 89 degrees. Beautiful weather now through the end of the week. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talk back.
All right, we're back here on Talkback. Alan Stephen with you on this Wednesday. We're talking about the Reignite program, and we'll get more to that. We have a call coming in. Let's take it on the BOM Bank Talk line. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning, guys. I wanted to share with you, I went to Hot Springs and went to the Mid-American Mid-America Science Museum. It's a kids museum. It was amazing. It was one of those places where it was so interactive that myself and then the other grown-up that was with us, we were more enthused than the kids. Like, we were walking around playing with things. That is something I'd love to see if they build us a children's museum here. And I'm thankful for what the Treehouse is, right? We have something. But if they go to the extent of building something out in the mall, I would love to see things that are actually interactive and get kids thinking about science.
Yeah.
And the way it interacts with the world around them. That museum in Hot Springs, if you ever get the chance to go, it's great for adults as well as kids.
Oh. If you go to Sci-Port too and Shreveport, I mean, it's one of the biggest attractions there, and people love it, and I think it'd be a great asset for Alexandria.
Absolutely. That's a great thing to do with that space, because there's really not much. There's not a whole lot, unless you're into sports and outdoors, there's not a whole lot for kids to do in Alexandria. So more options, because there's a whole bunch of kids. On the maps, I don't care what map they put out, but they got to quit looking at the races. Yep. It's all about the minority district. Who cares? It should be about population and population and cities of interest. I would hate to see Grant Parish cut in half, but I'd rather see the less populated areas get cut in pieces than the heavily dense population, right? You can't, cutting a line through Alexandria is stupid. Cutting a line, I mean, heck, our 6th district that we've been in for the last 2 years is dumb. It just doesn't make sense. I don't want to see Grant Parish separated from Rapides, but if they have to move lines, well, I mean, you do have to work within the confines of equal representation, right? I think there's some kind of criteria to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it should be more about population and common interests of regions and areas. There's probably no perfect map. We've talked about on the show, how do you really decide this? But I've seen several people kind of make suggestions. Even one person, I don't remember who it was, but they made a map just using AI to divide up the population, do it based on population numbers. And they actually make a lot of sense. And they are, with maybe the one exception would be kind of, you take that whole eastern side of the state, you have to kind of incorporate the Florida parishes, as they call them, into that as well. So that would be the biggest kind of geographical area, only because a lot of that area doesn't have heavy population. But yeah.
And in an area with lower population, if it got cut in pieces, sucks for that. But you're gonna have somebody you're gonna make mad. How about make the lower population areas be the place that got separated?
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna have to ruffle some feathers somewhere, but you've got to quit looking at who votes for who. It's just population.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. So yeah, we'll see.
Let the chips fall with the best representative.
We'll see how it all shakes out. But I have to admit, I'm distressed about what they're doing at Grant Parish in this pitch, breaking it up that way, half and half. I just,
it's not.
There's part of me, I can't help but always wonder, is there something more behind all that? You know what I'm saying?
I guarantee there are in Louisiana politics.
Yeah. No, they've conditioned us to be very cynical, to be honest.
Right.
I mean, it feels like
there's a reason we don't trust them.
Yeah. I saw it was going around yesterday or the day before about how a lot of the state Republican Party, which was starting to show support toward Fleming, now those people are backing off, and the reason they're saying, like, off the record, is because they know how vindictive the governor is.
Yeah, that won't deter me from voting for Fleming.
And believe
I'll be there
me,
Saturday.
There's going to be vindication from the governor's office towards state legislators that don't support carbon capture. I 100% guarantee it.
Absolutely. absolutely, and that's where we have a problem. That's why I think that's why Governor Landry hasn't been back to quote unquote town hall around here since he got elected.
He did come to a NARBIA meeting at one point, but
he didn't take questions.
Yeah, oh, that's right. But it's been a while, hasn't it?
Because I went and I was going to ask. I had a few questions for him, but he didn't take questions.
All right. Well,
but it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Louisiana politics.
Yes, sir.
We got to vote somebody better in.
Yep.
Y'all have a great day, guys. Thank y'all.
Man. Thank you, sir. We'll take a break. More calls coming up.
KSYL.
Need office supplies, janitorial supplies, or office furniture, either new or pre-owned? Then look no further than DTW Office Supply, with wholesale prices on a large selection of top quality products, all with the personalized hometown service that you deserve. We're proud to serve the entire state of Louisiana with daily deliveries right to your door. Visit us today at 1219 MacArthur Drive or online at dtwofficesupply.com. That's DTW Office Supply, your trusted partner for all of your office needs. Quality, value, service.
When buying a home or property, you have a choice for your real estate closing attorney. Fine Legal Services, LLC is a full-service title company offering residential and commercial real estate closings, title insurance, and more. Call your Alexandria, Louisiana attorneys, George Fine and Jeremy Cedars, at 318-767-2226 to learn more, or visit fine-lawyers.com. Let your realtor and lender know that you choose Fine Legal Services.
If you're planning on visiting Europe this summer, and if you haven't been there in the last couple of months, there are two things you need to know. First, you'll need to have your fingerprints and face scanned for what's called EES upon arrival. And second, you may encounter long lines at immigration posts. Here's the explanation. From America's #1 travel radio show, this is your RM World Travel Minute. I'm Rudy Maxa. EES stands for Entry-Exit System. It's a new digital program for travelers who don't carry a passport for any of the 29 European countries in the Schengen zone. That's most European countries other than the United Kingdom. The EES program is designed to let non-Schengen citizens pass through immigration faster. Children under 12 won't be fingerprinted. All other travelers staying in Europe up to 90 days within a 3-month period will be. Your biometric information will be stored. The purpose is not only to make future entry easier, but also to prevent known criminals from entering. But the rollout, which launched about a month ago, has led to long lines as incoming travelers wait for the scanning process to complete. Build a little extra time when planning your arrival. More travel info at armworldtravel.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Like our original gold-rimmed Bluebell homemade vanilla, the country's gold standard of ice cream flavors since 1969. Its hand-cranked taste takes you back to simpler times. That's why we put the word home right on the carton.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, we're back. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yeah. In dividing the state up according to population for the districts, does that population include both legal and illegal residents?
Fair question. Fair question. It shouldn't include illegal in any way.
Well, somebody needs to ask that question.
Yeah.
How many? I think New Orleans area would have far more illegals than, say, Grant Parish.
Yeah, one would think, but there might be some more rural parishes, as they're considered, that have that population there because of the work that they provide. Not saying Grant Parish specifically, but there might be, some parishes like to the south of Grant that might, just kind of putting it out there. So it's an interesting thought. And I know that when the new census is done the next time around, a lot of scuttlebutt you see is that Democrats could lose a lot of seats just merely if that population is not counted. So we'll see. All right, let's get back to your Reignite story that we've been talking about. So again, this is the city's plan for what it wants to do for the future. They had an event at the Alexandria Mall. I'm just going to go ahead and play Steven's story, then we can come back and talk more about it. So take a listen.
Apparently, they're actually there to give input on what should happen with the property, since many people just aren't shopping at brick and mortar stores anymore, here and across the nation. It's part of the city's Reignite program. It's an $80+ million project to revamp the Masonic Drive corridor, which of course includes the mall. People had the opportunity to give input on certain projects, everything to housing, workforce development, recreational activities, to revamping the mall.
It's not just the Masonic Drive corridor. There will be other places, recreation and otherwise, you'll see other big projects. But a big focus of it is that Masonic Drive corridor. And so people ask, why? Why the Masonic Drive corridor? Well, the main thing is there's so much public infrastructure already in place there that allows us to partner. Because remember, no public money goes into the mall. That's not the point of this. And people may have a sense of that, and I want to make sure people understand it. The mall is a private sector phenomenon here in town that has had great days in our past and is really just part of a change that's happening nationally. So the idea here is to turn the mall as part of the Reignite program into an experience-driven place. So recreation, quality of life, lots of different things that would not be the traditional retail you would see in a mid-sized city mall. Then what we want to know is, what would you want to see? So what would bring you here for experience-driven activities? Indoor golf, indoor baseball, all of those kind of things. What restaurants? What types of activities for kids? Would healthcare assets located here be part of that anchoring? The biggest anchor, and we've identified two we'd like to see, but the biggest one that we plan is a children's learning center and museum. And we're talking about a scale like Knock Knock in Baton Rouge. And that's the partners and folks we're working with on something of that scale. So imagine that that is somewhere here on this footprint as the main anchor to get people here.
The mayor says he hopes to have more town halls and opportunities for input in the future. For all your roofing needs, check out.
All right. So that was Steven's story. That's right now you can find on his Facebook page. I was looking at some of the comments on your post, and you got quite a few. There was over 180.
Yeah.
And somebody put this 3 times: security, safety, cleanliness. Security, safety, cleanliness. If it's not secure, if it's not safe, if it's not clean, it doesn't matter what you add, renovate, or put in. People want places that are safe for their families and children. Take that principle, make it the top priority for the whole city, and you'll quickly see a lot of things start to thrive. Fair criticism or not?
Well, I mean, they said that part of this program, they're going to add more law enforcement infrastructure. The community service officers are going to be stationed along that area. They're going to have more officers. They're going to have the SWAT building there. I mean, you also, and let's be honest too, there's shortages of officers all across the nation, and they're trying to.
Are there still plans for a lazy river?
Yeah.
Wasn't that part of the 20?
It was like one of the propositions.
Yeah.
It was one of many.
Yeah.
That was listed in a public document. But anyway, and part of this program is to revamp Bringhurst multi-use facility. So baseball, outdoor concert.
Wouldn't the city council have to get on board with this too for it to go through?
Maybe certain. I mean, it's a multifaceted thing, right?
Yeah.
So different parts may have to have different approvals, this, that, and the other. So it's some of the criticism, I think, from some of the council members and some of their followers is, why are we spending money here? And then there's no money going to the more impoverished parts of the city. But the mayor says they are focusing on all parts of the city, and that's just not the way it goes. But this has kind of been historically and still could be a major thoroughfare through Alexandria. And they also want to kind of accommodate the hospital there and the hospitals in the area to allow them to expand and workforce housing, different buildings for their operations. We've seen Cabrini increase their footprint in the Masonic corridor already. So I think that's something they want to really focus on as well. And I think that's why they're opening it up for ideas. There could be differing opinions on what we should do in that area, but at least we're seeing finally something being done to talk about it at least.
Yeah.
Because the mall has been kind of a big question mark in Central Louisiana for a long time.
Right.
And so
another question I would have or wonder is this being really pushed and spotlighted right now because it is essentially an election year?
I think it's, and that's a good question. I think it's been going on for quite a long time, and we're just kind of seeing some of that work come to fruition. I mean, we talked about, I think I had my sit down with him and he talked about it, at least 6 months ago or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's always a part of it too, right? And it could be, but I think they've been working on it for quite some time.
Okay. Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hi, good morning. I'm just getting on here, so I haven't heard. You may have already talked about this, but Stephen, do you know if they have brought in any outside urban developers? I know in years past that they made the mistake with the Coliseum and also the walking trail through downtown and up through. They have not brought on urban developers, but I just didn't know if they had brought that up or not, reached out for any outside advice or experience on what to do here. I know you're right, the corridors of Alexandria are the most suffered areas of town, and yet they are our billboard to Central Louisiana. So I just didn't know if they had talked about that or not. I didn't get to go yesterday, but thank you so much. Y'all have a great day.
Yeah, good question. And I did talk to the mayor, and I think I'm okay in saying this. They'd love to come in here and sit down and talk about it and answer questions. So I just haven't reached out to get it scheduled yet, so that's on me. So we'll hopefully have them soon. That specific question, I don't know specifically.
Okay. Let's go to another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Well, this is off track, but in a joking way, they ought to just turn it into a prison. But I think that'd be the ideal thing. Anyway, I have a question for you. I haven't heard from Charlie Brown, and I really missed his phone calls.
Yeah, you're right. It's been several months, it seems like.
Well, if he's listening, I miss his phone calls because he always made me laugh.
He's definitely a character. You're right.
Yeah, for sure. And the other question I have for you, if anybody's listening, there used to be a guy here in Alexandria. His name was Fernando. And he was the guy that would ride the three-wheel bicycle. And you'd see him all over. He'd be going to Walmart, Super One, and so forth. But I've known him for years, not on a personal basis, just casually talking to him and stuff. Sure. But I haven't seen him do you know who I'm talking about?
Maybe.
You would see him on that three-wheel bicycle everywhere.
Yeah.
And then somebody stole the bike one time, and I think they did something and got him another one. And then the last time I'd seen him, he had an electric one. But anyway, it was I missed the guy, and I don't know. It's hard to believe you never saw this guy. He was everywhere on that three-wheel bicycle.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows, call in and let me just know out of curiosity, because I've had some mutual friends ask me the same question. So, Hey, have a blessed day, week, whatever. Yeah, the whole week's ahead of you, right?
At least 2 more days after today, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Watch the hominy.
All right, sounds good. I always appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
We'll take a break. More coming up.
If you've ever wanted to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself, and didn't know where to start, Janney King Gulf Coast has already built the foundation for you. With guaranteed initial customers, hands-on training, and ongoing local support, you'll never feel like you're doing it alone, because you won't be. For over 35 years, we've helped people turn their dreams into real successful businesses. Take the next step. Discover a business built for you at JaneyKingCleans.com.
Janney King, the king of clean.
Remember when eating corn right off the cob was one of your favorite summertime treats? Or how about taking a big bite out of a crisp, fresh apple? If it's been a while since you enjoyed these delightful activities, chances are your teeth are no longer up for the task. But now there's great news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville are Cenla's dental implant experts. They're both highly trained and experienced in the procedure. Now with thousands of completely satisfied, delighted patients. They make dental implant surgery simple by using today's most current technologies, along with in-office IV sedation administered by a highly skilled certified nurse anesthetist. You'll be in and out before you know it, without all the anxiety. Plus, at Today's Dental, their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Go back to crunching all your favorite foods. Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. That's 448-4540.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Cenla's best at Bricato's Restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt-in-your-mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's Restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
All right, one of our listeners texted me to say the name, the guy that our last caller was talking about, Fernando. He said he thinks he has MS. He lived on 11th Street, right behind POA. So
I wish I knew what he looked like, because I've probably seen him too.
I kind of think I might have not.
Does he work anywhere? Someone can answer that question.
Yeah.
If you tell me which one where he worked, I could maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. So kind of back to the Reignite, another comment someone put on your post, Stephen. Y'all are so worried about bringing new things to Alexandria, but not the concern that's right in the area, which is a lot of crime and drugs and small businesses that are just trying to make it in the world. Instead of building new things, why don't you all take time to fix the places up to try to promote small businesses to stay in the area and add more police officers out to protect the area instead of trying to push crime into other areas? I've seen police sit in the parking lot and do nothing. People running red lights, speeding through the parking lot at the mall. It's crazy. Y'all are just trying to push all the small businesses out to put up more housing, which is crazy. Oops, hang on. So there are a lot of comments like that. Like, it seems like some people are skeptical. Some people are giving suggestions for what could go into the mall, things that they'd like to see.
I'm curious what they mean by driving out small business, but okay. I don't think the administration would want to do that.
No.
So that's, I think, a little bit unfair.
Right.
Crime issue. Solving police shortages is a problem that we're seeing all across the nation, and I think they'd be the first to admit that there is a shortage of officers here. But
yeah,
it's from what we understand, a very tough thing to do is to fill those positions. And I think we should be paying them more, but we're dealing with public dollars. Where are you going to get it? You know, so it's a whole thing. It's tough. It's tough to hire officers. It sounds like.
Yeah. All right, let's try to get one last call on here. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning. Really enjoy the show. Went down to that meeting yesterday, and I thought the way they had it laid out was nice from the standpoint of you could give them suggestions, and then they'll, I guess, correlate that and then make their recommendations. They're going to have some other meetings, but I thought it was well presented. There wasn't a lot of discussion the time that I was there, but it gave you the opportunity to put your 2 cents in without having to defend your position or whatever, and then they're going to take that information and then revamp their, I guess, proposals as they move forward through this process. So, but yeah, I thought it was, and it had, when I was there, it was pretty well attended.
All right.
I don't know whether
we're out of time. Thanks for the call. We always appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 9 o'clock.